Well, we want to expand white privilege and deepen it.
Still hanging on to moments lost. Try to carry on, no matter the cost. But there's one thing that makes me come alive when you're by my side. Forget everything together with me when that weary table rolls. Play that movie, I want you to smile. Shut out all the worries, dream away for a while. The look you had in your eyes back then, we'll pretend it's 85 again. Play that tape, make me feel like I'm home. Take me back again to see the look of that crow. The power of love is back on the screen, and we'll have 85 again.
I am a white Zionist.
And we are a kind of revolutionary movement that is analogous to the Bolsheviks.
Play that movie, I want you to smile. Shut out all the worries, dream away for a while. The look you had in your eyes back then, we'll pretend it's 85 again. Play that tape, make me feel like I'm home. Take me back again to see the look of that crow. The power of love is back on the screen, and we'll have 85 again.
But that's
the
totally
cuck- the cuck-
rare and tangential. I mean,
No. The cuck response to porn is actually identical to the feminist response. So Rick Santorum would often say, "Oh, porn inspires rape and hatred of women," and blah blah blah. No,
So let's start with, I think, Mike, maybe you're the best one for this. Maybe the background of Jews and the adult entertainment industry, either from the filmmaking perspective, management perspective, active perspective, viewing perspective. Share.
You sure this isn't one you want to take?
Grab
I have some thoughts on it.
it. Here.
Jews in the adult industry, there's a lot of them. It was pretty much founded by the adult industry, or I'm sorry, the Jews. The adult, I had a couple beers. The adult industry was pretty much founded by the Jews. Basically, in the early 1900s, the German Jewish immigrants came in. They gravitated towards the porn industry because it's like kind of the seedier cousin of the Hollywood industry, which had already been controlled by the Jews. So basically, back in the 1960s, 70s, it was founded by people like Danny Mamet, Danny Skura, and then later in the 80s, the godfather of the modern day porn industry. His name was Reuben Sterman. Who was actually an Orthodox Jew. He owned over 200 bookstores all around the country. He's actually my godfather, which is kind of weird. So back in the 80s, the only way you could get pornography was to go through someone like Reuben Sterman, and he controlled, all of his stores and all the stores that he didn't own. They actually had to pay him a tax to carry his product, and he was the only place that you could get product from, peep shows from. And later, what the Jews did was they created the manufacturing side, which is the replication, the printing, because back in the day, if you wanted to make a VHS or a beta tape or whatever, you couldn't go down to Kinko's or any mainstream printer and be like, I want to print, you know, gangbang my mom number 3. I'm keeping it clean.
Yeah, no, you know.
I promised I would.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
That works too. We haven't done that yet, but. So what they did was they created all of these companies that manufactured DVDs and VHS and beta and printing, and all the companies pretty much had to go through the Jews. Reuben Sterman, actually, eventually he died in prison. Not from, they tried to get him from obscenity back in the 80s, which was a big thing. It actually still is a resident obscenity arrest today. But he eventually died in prison because of tax evasion, because he didn't want to pay taxes. So that's, you know, it happened.
Yeah, Jews and
Yeah,
money.
yeah, Jews and money is the next taboo talk. Coming next year.
Rabbi,
Buy your tickets today.
do you want to weigh in on this? So let's follow that up with the relationship between the Jews who got involved in this industry because they couldn't get involved in mainstream Hollywood, and their relationship with non-Jews then who were in this industry. Was there a stigma? Because while they did control a variety, you know, historically control a lot of this industry, was there a stigma about those who are actively, let's say, making the films about being Jewish in this movie? Was there a stigma within it? And was there a stigma from other Jews who are in the community? And where is that at today versus historically?
Let me just answer that question with, back in the 70s, the majority of the male porn performers were Jewish, and the majority of the female performers were Roman Catholic. And if you look at the names from like the classic porn stars, you got Ron Jeremy, which isn't really Jewish, but you have Herschel Savage.
Is that his real name or his porn name?
That's his porn name.
Herschel was his porn name? That's not the one I would pick.
But
That's the next question.
I-
What are your porn names?
Well, it's kind of funny because those guys came into the industry, and I actually asked a couple of them, because I asked Ron Jeremy, and I was like, why did you guys, you know, decide to go into the porn industry? Like, what was it that drew you? And besides, like, the obvious, they were like, I got to fuck Roman Catholic chicks. And fulfill every I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You're okay. Okay, you'll know.
Fornicate with Roman Catholics and fulfill like every fantasy that every Jewish boy has ever had. So I think the Jewish performers, they've always been really prevalent in the industry, and even now Ron Jeremy is still, you know, like one of the most well-known performers. James Dean, Joanna Angel, Daphne Rosen, there's a bunch of them. The business side is still controlled by Jews. You have Steve Hirsch, who runs Vivid. You have Steve Orenstein, who runs Wicked. You have me, who runs the biggest porn company in the world. Second biggest. All the business owners are pretty much Jewish or have Jewish ties or at some point worked for a Jew in the porn business or getting their start. So,
For good and for ill. For instance, porn. Some forms of porn have been given to the types of people who, due to their for a very strong degree, like physical problems, just they're just deep innate character flaws, are child molesters. Giving them certain types of porn can actually prevent greater child molestation.
I can think of other methods, but
obviously I can think of other methods. But you know, in terms of the world we live in, I don't oppose it. But that actually proves the point.
Right.
If you go to any porn site, you're pretty instantly going to get a pop-up of a girl who looks about 12 with braces taking a dick half her size. What they're trying to do is sell that like pedophilic fantasy, and it's very common. Like honestly, if you're a girl and you're 18 or 19 or 20 and you look underage, like you are gonna get bucked. Like, fuck. They just want the most extreme things they can think of. I was on this set once in Florida. Florida is known for this like thriving amateur industry. Like, so many of these very young looking 18-year-old girls are coming from Florida, and I grew up in Florida, and it's because that culture is backwards as fuck, probably. That's from what I can say. I get a last minute booking for a scene. No one really told me anything. I didn't even know who I was working with, and I didn't usually care when it came to girls because they just are less problematic than guys for me. Let's leave it there. And when I get there, you know, we're getting makeup and stuff, the girls get there and they're literally like, they weren't just 18. They were 18 in December. They had both just turned 18 within the past couple weeks. Like, literally, these girls should have been in high school at this time. Like, they literally should have been sitting in a desk. Like, this wasn't the weekend. This was like a Monday. Why weren't you fucking in your senior year of high school? Like, what is going on? And like, no, oh, we dropped out. We dropped out of high school to do porn. You're not, I don't care who you are or where you're from, like, you're not ready to do something like porn when you're a senior in high school. So, it wasn't just like that, you know, that was what it was. Okay, you come from a bad background, you don't, you know, whatever the case, maybe porn could be good for you, maybe you'll make a lot of money, and maybe someone will be a good influence on you and tell you to save it, and everything will be fine, and you'll work for years and years, like fucking 10% best case scenario. But what really left me struggling not to cry constantly this day is they dress them up in little girl clothes from like Target. Like you know how you go to Target, you go to clothes, and there's just like women and juniors and little girls. The clothes were from there. They were from the little girl section. They were wearing little flat loafers like Catholic schoolgirls, and these like tiny little shirts and skirts that they hiked up, like, and those fluffy socks. And the girls already look fucking 12. And they put basic makeup on them and then dressed them up this way. So like, when I looked at them, I'm just like they literally wanted me to work with these girls sexually, and like, they look like children. They both were so tiny that if they were walking in like an elementary school line in front of me, like I would assume they're 6th graders. And it's not like, you know, I really wanted to just be like, I can't do this. But again, you know, word travels like super duper fast, and they were 18, and you know, I was like, I tried to make the best of it. And I was like, so you just turned 18, like, how are you here? And she's like, oh, I used to go to this house party when I was like, you know, 16, 17, and I met this guy, he's an agent. He told me I'd be this great big porn star and I would be so successful, and I really believed him, and he's sort of been just kind of like preparing me. So as soon as I turned 18, like, here I am. Like, literally some piece of shit, like 20-something-year-old glorified pimp is going to house parties with underage girls and convincing them to do porn. So, it's, and aside from that, you know, these people are probably going to get involved in bad things to begin with, but the producers just keep churning it out. They don't give a fuck, you know? They make millions of dollars a year off of shooting porn, and they feel the need to shoot elementary school girls.
I can't tell you what an incredible honor it is to give Elie Wiesel the Warrior of Truth recipient, because he truly is the great warrior of truth for our time. Professor Wiesel.